Welcome to our final tip on 2024 driver rankings. Yeah, we're in 2025 already, but I guess it's a good time to get back to 2024 and do the final ratings so we can uh, basically tell who was the best driver out of the 24. I think we had 24 drivers, right? We only have 20 to rate, but yeah, when we started the ratings, I didn't anticipate there would be like 24 drivers in the season. So yeah, it screws up with the averages, but we'll sort things out. Anyways, hello HX, we're back. We're excited for the new season as well. But yeah, this is still a 20.4 video. We're doing a bit late, but yeah, life happened and we didn't quite manage to record. Anyways, F1 2024 has come to an end. The last 8 races were pretty interesting. We had a title fight brewing. Didn't quite manage to hold up at last few races. It was kind of over, but it still was pretty good season overall. The last 8 races were very good as well, and made us very excited for the next season. So let's rate the drivers. I guess we can go. Okay, yeah, up to bottom. No, no, bottom to up. Yeah, bottom to top exactly. Okay, since I'm the stupid one, you can start. Yeah. No, 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 no. Sergeant is sorry. I've added the Sergeant slash Colapinto because Sergeant was rated for the first two thirds of the season, and Colapinto is for the last one, as well as Lawson. So we're rating the last 8 races for Lawson and Colapinto, with the previous ones being for Ricardo and Sargent. I didn't, yeah, I didn't add Behrman nor Doohan. I think those were the two drivers that also happened to be on the grid. Oh, that's pretty solid. Um, yeah, it's high, and I think yeah. Want to remind you that this is based not based on expectations, but based on extracting the car performance. If you want to remain with 8, I'm gonna let you, but yeah. All right, all right. It's your call. I'm gonna convince you otherwise. 8 is fluctuate the ratings a bit for Williams. I think, especially with the rating Sergeant got. All right, my rating for Colapinto. Obviously, as you mentioned, very good start. Impressed very much. So, but the last couple of races kind of fell off. As literally your words. Yeah. I think Colapinto will get a seat, maybe even in 2025, because that Alpine seat doesn't look very stable. And I think Doohan will be the driver under most pressure come the start of this 2025 season. to basically keep his seat because Colapinto has received a multi-year deal from Alpine, probably not to be just a reserve driver for so much money. Um, I imagine they want to like do and would basically need to be on par with Gasly to remain in that seat, and it's yeah, back to 2024. uh, Colapinto, yeah, rookie mistakes, but that comes with being a rookie and very quick, very impressive. I'm gonna give him a 6.5. This seems low, but considering the grade that I've given the other drivers throughout the season, I think 6.5 suits well. Um, yeah, I think maybe I should even go lower, but I'm gonna stick with 6.5 because yours already is so high. I don't want to go lower because it would look bad probably. Wow, 8 to 5. Okay. Yeah. Um, Definitely wasn't Albon's best 8 races, but also had some great moments that went under the radar because I mean, yeah, Williams was good in the middle part of the season, like middle end when Colapinto came to Williams, it started in scoring points regularly. That's where uh, the mistakes kept coming to for Albon. I don't think he was that bad, but also I don't think he was that much worse than Colapinto. I think overall probably would should rate Albon higher, but I remain with the 6 for Albon. I don't think they were separated by much. The thing that helped Alex this much in the ratings is, in my opinion, the crashes. Like, yeah, Colapinto had them as well, but Alex isn't known for crashing so much. This season, especially the later half, was very uncharacteristic from him, and he needs to step up because he's got a really good teammate next year. Um, so that it's gonna be a big task for Alex, and yeah, hopefully he can prove people wrong, including me, because I'm still skeptical about his well overall performance. As you know, as soon as we started recording, I've been always skeptical because I didn't know where Alex was. He had a Sargent as a teammate, then it went to he had Latifi, then it went to Sargent, and now it's Colapinto. All three drivers that are not proven at all. Like Latifi had a stint with Russell, but Russell demolished him basically. Uh, a rookie Russell as well. Um, then we had Sargent, who was a rookie himself, Colapinto as well. Those are not no benchmarks for Alex, so he's gonna have a good teammate next year that will test well give everyone an idea how good of a driver he really is. Okay, I guess you can move on to Lawson. Yeah, he got it. Yeah. Okay. Uh, I mean, free. It's kind of a Perez territory that we are entering here. It almost feels like. Uh... Okay, I'll probably choose the perfect driver. I mean, like Magnussen, Joe, and Stroll at territory probably because Perez is probably way lower. Uh, okay, Lawson obviously came as a replacement for Ricardo. Was pretty much where Ricardo left off, like being the second driver at that team didn't change much. He had an odd performance once in a while when he actually beat Yuki, but most of the time he was behind. Yeah, he gave me the championship for a prediction championship for 2024 because he got that Red Bull seat, but I. Well, I think we're kind of biased for Yuki because we're Yuki fans, but also I also feel like he just didn't deserve it. The seed, like, yeah, there are reasons that he probably was a good choice, but you have a driver that is not in the Red Bull seat purely for politics, because there's no other way. There's purely politics going on in the background they're preventing Yuki from a seat at Red Bull because he's basically there for his last season. Like there already speculations is going to be replaced 2026, and the 2025 season hasn't even started. They're pretty much letting him off. I think if he's going somewhere, could be Aston Martin, but also that is very uncertain because Alonso still has a contract, and Stroll. I mean, Stroll is who knows about Stroll? He's staying there if he wants to, as long as he wants to. And Yuki would probably need to become best friends with him and try to convince him to play tennis instead or something. But it's probably not happening. I'm really concerned where future of Yuki lies because I'm not really certain that he's gonna be tired for 2026 and yeah, it must may be harsh, but we're gonna have 2022 seats in the 2026 season, and Yuki may not be on one. Uh, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, Yuki has already a lot of worth. I think on the driver market, his stocks went up after the season, and after 2025, they can go even higher after he beats Hajar convincingly, which I think could happen definitely. Um, So yeah, back to Lawson. I'm gonna give him a 5.5, so lower than Albon, but not as low as you. Cause I don't think it was pretty average performance. I think Yuki, I think Yuki was the better one, and I think it wasn't like Yuki was average and Lawson was bad. I think instead it was Lawson being average and Yuki was good. That's why I've given him a 5.5 basically. Ooh, pretty harsh, but I'm not that much higher honestly. I'm having 6 for Yuki. I already talked a lot about Yuki when I talked about Lawson. Uh, Yuki didn't have as an impressive third of the season as the last two. But that doesn't mean that he had a bad season. He had an incredible season, and the final third of the season being still above average is definitely not ruining the average of the entire season. I think Yuki was a very good driver this season and deserves a good rating because he was the best driver at that team and in the past 2 seasons basically it's like he destroyed two careers and finally enough ironically sent one into Red Bull. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. Interesting coincidence. I mean, he he said De Vries to retirement. He said Ricardo to retirement, and he beat Lawson, and Lawson gets the Red Bull seat. Like, it's strange, but it's such a Yuki thing to happen as well. Okay, I'm ready for your I'm ready for your one sentence explanation for Joe. I mean, maybe two because Qatar. Yeah, but Qatar and Vegas come to mind as very good races for him. Uh, he got points in Qatar, the only summer points of the year. Yeah. Yeah. It is. He's like a Kubica moment that Basically, he got the only points at the Williams in 2019, thanks to the German 2019 race, which was like one of the craziest races in recent memory. Uh, yep. Bartoletto is taking a seat. Bottas' seat is taken by Hulkenberg already, so. Yeah, I remember those times that you completely forgot Alpha is on the grid. No, not Alpha, a Sauber. So was confused by yeah. Joe's season was underwhelming. It was sad. It was weak, but the last eight races showed some little glimpses of potential that he still had in there. Um, yeah, I think this was also a thing that Bottas was a very good driver this season. Went under the radar because of his really bad car that he had. Uh, but mostly speaking on Bottas, I think Joe had a underwhelming season, but not the worst season ever. Like definitely better than Perez, for example. uh, that yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I get it. I mean, Joe finished ahead of Bottas in the last three races of the season. Obviously, Vegas, he was very close to the points throughout the entire race. Like Alpha brought upgrades for the last five or six races. They were starting to get it closer and closer to the points. In Vegas, it looks very good, but still, there were some quicker cars around there. But in Qatar, Sauber was capable of points and Joe delivered. Yeah, I was lucky. It had a lot of DNFs, even punctures and so on, but he still delivered, and yeah, he delivered when it mattered, and that's what giving points for me, at least. Wasn't a good couple of races. These eight races are anything spectacular, but are still much better than what he showed in the previous 16. So I'm gonna have a five. Uh, okay, for a second, let's go forget the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, like the race itself, and look at the his eight races without it, and then you could add it in the final because recency bias is a thing, and I'm glad we do this in January, so we're not like thinking just about the last race.
So, for instance, I think what the most podiums or the second most podiums there would be that Verstappen, Bottas, Hamilton in F1 history. So,
Yeah,
the fact that you don't have to, what else errors time in an F1 car properly, he just doesn't have a car that's works, doesn't have a car that has any potential to be quick. But he did do solid performances. There's a few in there, for example, in Brazil, came up towards the 11th.
yeah. He got into Q3.
Incredibly sad. He shows that he is still Bottas, right?
Yeah.
Finishing another drivers that he absolutely I'm not gonna be too harsh on him. Feel like I'm gonna still feel like it's a difficult one, right? Because I could push him down to three, because of course Joe got the points, but I feel it's too much of a gap.
Context wise, the Qatar Grand Prix was pretty one sided in terms of strategy. That's at least from what I've read, that basically the team prioritized Joe and basically tested everything, the strategy, the tires on Bottas's car, so Joe could finish the points. As a team game, it was a very good idea because I mean they scored points, but it kind of ruined Bottas's race because he in the end finished behind Norris and couldn't get points himself. Um, Bottas's last 8 races weren't the best ever, but also weren't bad either. I think they were pretty decent. There are some great performances like the Q3 appearances in Brazil and um, what was it, Abu Dhabi, the last race. He randomly got to celebrate in Q3 on his last race, probably his last Grand Prix of his career, unless something crazy happened with Mercedes, because he's there as a reserve driver at the moment. Would probably require some kind of a sickness. Where I obviously don't want to see any driver sick, but if anything has to happen, probably has to get another go at the race. Probably would need to be that. Overall, I think he had a decent couple of races. I'm still giving like a 6.5 same as Colapinto. Okay, now that I see he's get Colapinto's to Albon's level. I cannot have Colapinto above Albon because Albon was the stronger driver over the 8 races. Colapinto is getting those points purely based on uh, well, he's a rookie. Always not much. We shouldn't rate expectations as well, but this is a little factor then that made me have both of them at 6 points. Anyways, both at 6.5. Can move on to the Haas drivers.
Yeah, I think something that something that sticks with me, right, is that Hamilton comes into this, he has that band, which is very funny for him to get, and he comes in and it's like, okay, here's your chance to just go at it, and he did. He started off by going at it. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where he was just superb.
It was Mexico. I think that's what you're remembering.
Um, but yeah,
He wasn't Baku. He I mean Bearman was there instead of him. He was banned.
yeah, so unfortunately, um, and he comes in, he's superb, he's going really well. But just towards the end of the season, and this sort of is linked to Haas rather than just him. Subtile after subtile.
Yeah.
You know, his career, it's a sad way to go out, but it's a less sad way than he did originally. I think that's a big thing. That
Yeah.
will argue that. That was a bit like that was a bit
Uh,
like you know all the media was focused on the driver, like so.
yeah.
He sort of just left and it was sort of ignored. Not ignored, but like
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was a time that you wouldn't even think of Magnussen leaving Formula One. He was like Fittipaldi in the other car, and we had the 2020 season was ending. We still had that Grosjean crash. We had the Grosjean crash in mind, and we're basically having the final race of the season with Max winning 2020 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which well was a little bit of a spoiler for 2021. And obviously the seasons after that.
I think I'm gonna still be again. I just don't. I still feel like we miss Magnus.
That's a very decent rating from based on our history of ratings, rating midfield drivers.
Yeah,
I think I think it's nice of you. No, the hating. Just okay. Magnussen. Uh, Actually, I was very impressed by the last 8 races, even though it started with a race ban. He came back with a bang, kinda. I mean, he was mostly at pace of Hulkenberg, sometimes even beating him. It was a pretty good last 8 races of the season. It was just that it came at the wrong moment. It was too late for it to matter, and he was already out of that seat, out of Formula One. Still happy he went out on a high, and yeah, it's gonna be sad to see Magnussen out of Formula One because yeah, you weren't as happy as I as I was entertained in the first part of the season where he was getting a lot of a lot of penalty points. Yeah, I was having fun seeing Magnussen race because we're gonna have that in the future. Yeah, Max is still there, but we can't count on one single driver at the top who's mostly just winning races. It's not competing with people. Like we're seeing Max race people again after so long as well. Um, yeah, Magnussen, happy farewell to you. You're gonna have my highest rating so far, 7. Actually, no. I'm gonna have him a 7. Oh no, I'm gonna. Okay, 7.5 it is. You know what? 7.5 it is. Okay, it's the third time. I'm changing Colopin to 5.5. Now that I think about it, yeah, I just cannot have Colopinto at the same level of Albon and Tsunoda. Just I'm gonna stick with this, and this is the final time I change it.
It was just steady Hulkenberg, right?
Mm,
I can't think of any. Can you think of any performance like, oh, that was crazy?
uh, crazy bad or crazy good? Because there are both performances. I mean, Hulkenberg had those performances where he goes on the Q3. For example, you remember Abu Dhabi, he almost got put in a pole position. If there was a red flag that I screamed for in front of the TV. But there was also a couple of races back, he had that atrocious weekend in Brazil where he had just overall like a stroll level weekend, which is not very characteristic of Hulkenberg at the track. He got his for a pole position at in the rain as well. He was beaten by both appearances of Behrman. He it just wasn't as dominant as he was in the first two turns of the season. I think Hulkenberg stepped down a little bit, but still wasn't bad. He was still pretty decent, but just not. Yeah, that was exceptional. Like in start of the season, he was amazing.
Brazil obviously sort of but every other weekend, and that's so you can sort of ask a bit in that car. So I'm going to give him I'm going to give him an A.
I mean, okay. This is quite an. This is something I didn't expect, honestly. Like you giving my favorite driver a higher rating than I do, because I'm giving it a seven. I, oh no, sorry, my 7.5. My bad. Uh, 7.5 for both Magnus and Hulkenberg. They're pretty much on par for me for the last eight races, and yeah, I pretty much explained my thoughts on Hulkenberg's last eight races. He's gonna have a tough time at Sauber next year before the Audi transition, but Audi's looking to have the worst engine in 2026, so yeah, probably not good times for me as a Hulkenberg fan, but I mean, I'm used to him being in the midfield. As long as he's scoring points, occasionally I'm happy. Um, just not, I just hope it's not Bottas level season next year that he's just nowhere near the points because of his car. I just hope that he can compete once in a while at least. Go for it.
Again, onwards. Um, Piastri, I've felt this way before about Piastri. I think with engine seasons is usually where he sort of just stops.
Yeah, he disappeared basically.
Yeah, then he did it again here. Obviously the big thing was the stuff out of this. I think that was
Yeah,
really sort of
yeah, yeah.
but like in America, that was a
Yeah, right. America wasn't good.
really think I don't think really think of any races where he
He did already the sprint races, but those aren't that important. He, he showed up. He showed up to win the Qatar sprint race, which is I think is funny that he won all sprint races in Qatar that he's competed in. Oh, is this side? Oh, okay. Uh, this probably moves my rating a little bit because I honestly forgot about it. Yeah, yeah, that was just like last impressive race of the season, honestly. Yeah.
Which might seem like it's harsh, but I'm going to give him a 6. It's not going to go up too much because otherwise I don't think he's been on the podium since.
He, yeah, yeah. I don't think he was either. It
Like
was,
it'll be harsh that everyone says that Carlton Farms is, if we're going to judge Norris harshly for not winning the championship, we've got to judge Piastri harshly for not even going to third in the end. The third place shouldn't be
yeah. I overtook him and held the lead for a couple of races. He's,
because the fastest car
no,
was
no. Actually, Piastri was never ahead of Leclerc in the championship. It was
well no of course
no,
not.
no, no. So because Norris overtook Leclerc, but Piastri never did. Piastri overtook Sainz barely. He actually finished ahead of Sainz by like only a couple of points in the end. That's just how bad his last quarter of the season was. Uh, yeah, I guess that's what we're rating, but also that's the Baku win, which was exceptional, but that cannot hold his rating up high. It's just one performance. He didn't show up for the last quarter of the season where his teammate needed him because Lando was there under a billion tons of pressure. He's fighting his first championship. He's so many points behind. Everyone's saying he's got the best car. He's flopping. He's just throwing everything. And Piastri's he was always behind. He was always out qualified, out raced. There was this one instance in Baku, but other than that, Piastri was pretty much nowhere. He showed up for the sprint races though. That was interesting. Like every time a sprint race came around, Piastri was just yeah, I'm back, hello. But other than that, it was Piastri was nowhere to be seen, and this is very concerning for 2025 in my opinion. Like I was in the middle of the season, I was saying that Piastri has what it takes to be better than Norris, but now that I think about it, like he still probably has some things to learn and some things to improve on because he's not ready yet to beat Norris in my opinion. If he starts the next season, well, maybe, but still, it's difficult to say. Okay.
Still, what happens to him that stops him from being able to do that in Lewis as well? Is it just could it be something to do with the fact they started prioritizing Lando? But even then, there's such a lot of races between, where they said they were going to start doing that and when as things stand now. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, I do wish him the best because he's a star. Anyway, on to Lando.
Sorry, I haven't put my rating in. Sorry. No worries. Piastri, I'm disappointed in his last third of the season. Despite the win, it still wasn't great, and it boosted his rating a little bit, uh, but still not great. Ending up with a 6 just because of the Baku win. It was lower than that. Uh,
Yeah, it is harsh.
and yeah,
But again, that requires us to support one of the best teams.
yeah, my two favorite drivers having 7.5 and a 6. Yeah, I think I did my best to not be biased here. I genuinely critical of them because they weren't as good as I hoped they would be. Okay, you can go on to Lando.
Lando had a very interesting birthday. He just seemed dead in the season. Didn't end up challenging for a championship. The biggest entirely on his performance tonight.
Uh,
Phenomenal at the same time. Um, when I say I don't think it's entirely on his fault, I just think Max Verstappen, it was Max Verstappen in the end. Um, it was nice that Lando finally sort of got over his bad start thing, the bad start injury. Um, but yeah, that was some races. So apologies for that.
not sure for uh,
I'm going to move on and just give him a 8. It's not a incredibly high score. I think he would be
okay.
even if it doesn't go because he was bad on the
I think we're going to differ once again. I think Lando had an amazing last end of the season, with the exception of Brazil. That was the race that where he flopped. Basically, he lost his championship in the Brazil race. He had everything he needed to extend the championship lead and actually put up a fight to Max. When you think about it, the last few races, he could have won all three of them. Well, maybe not Las Vegas, because that was Mercedes being extremely quick, and they weren't generally in the contention. But other than that, he should have won in Brazil. He should have. He didn't. He instead finished sixth. Well, his championship rival came from 17th to win the race. Like, these are the things that he needs to sort out before he wants to fight for a championship. And yeah, there are those mistakes under pressure, and he's just, yeah. I think whenever pressure's off, Lando is an exceptional driver. Like we saw in the previous seasons, like we've been rating Lando so highly. I think uh, ever since like he came to the sport, basically he was on par with Sainz in qualifying, then on par with him in the races as well. Then came Ricardo. He destroyed Ricardo. Then Piastri came in, and he was convincingly better than Piastri last year as well. He was getting podiums left and right. He was looking good. Come this season, he's got the best car, something that he's never experienced before, and pressure got to him. He just flopped at the start, but the pace was still there. He was extremely quick in both races and qualifying, and in the last 8 races. If it wasn't for Brazil, he would go. He would have gotten a very good high rating. Unfortunately, he lost his championship in that race. I cannot go. It's still a very high rating, but I cannot go higher than that because of that. But other than other than that, yeah, he was exceptionally qualifying. Still, when I think about Brazil, yeah, that was a better performance in the race. But yeah, he got pole position. I mean, he won the sprint technically. Yeah, Piastri led him through, but he also led Piastri through in Qatar. It doesn't really matter. It's a sprint race at one point. Like, still was very good. I think Lando deserves a 9 from me in the last 8 races. Despite the Brazil race, which, I mean, without the Brazil race, imagine if he would have won that race, I would probably give him a 9.5, maybe even 10. Uh, he didn't flop as many race starts in the last part of the season, mainly because his car wasn't as dominant. Uh, I think we need to also mention McLaren after the autumn break, or whatever you call it, after Baku, like between Baku and USA, there was like a 2 to 3 week break. After we came from the break, Ferrari suddenly became a competitor for race wins, like regularly. That was the one race when Mercedes was very quick in Vegas. Red Bull finally found the form back, and Max won a couple of races. I think McLaren wasn't. It probably maybe was the best car of those 8 races, but it was very close. It was always competitive. There's always very good drivers and very good cars around him. Um, I really didn't want to be harsh on Norris. I think giving a 9 is fair. He was a very good driver, and only a few bested him in those last 8 races, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Do not Gasly. Oh, come on, like he was good.
Yeah.
Like you had more things to say about Magnussen. Come on.
Well, yeah, and look, the driving that had his team against him, Gasly performed pretty decently. So there was none that I just. I mean, in the last 2 races, did he ever make top 10?
Gasly,
I can't think of a single one.
Gasly,
Yeah,
Gasly,
Rico.
Gasly was in the top 10 like every single time almost.
Sorry, sorry,
You're
sorry.
thinking about Ocon, I think.
I forgot about the entirety of Brazil.
Not just Brazil. Gasly was putting in top 10 performances like at the end of the season, pretty much every time.
Yeah, Chelsea was very amazing at the end of the season. Did a lot of good. Yeah, as I say, he was in the quickest car. I confused them both by apologize. Uh, he was in the quickest car. He really did show off his pace. Both Chelsea and Ocon are amazing drivers. Um, that deserved a quick car in the Alpine, and unfortunately, the Alpine did mess up through the start of the season. They literally were the worst car on the grid. They did build it better, built it faster. And at the end of the season, I think you saw what Gasly can do in a quick car. Um, I really do expect him to sort of demolish any teammate they put in front of him. The competition was sort of interesting. Um, but considering him and Ocon, I've said this before, I'll say it again, probably one of my most dream partnerships in EF1 grid. So the fact that they're not working together anymore, pretty sad. Because yeah, it's like the friendship. But yeah, as you said, again, the number of drives in the front races, obviously the main sticking point for all of the Alpine fans. But overall, I think I have to give him an A as well. Near in the money.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. No problem. No problem. Sometimes when I forget about obvious things, they were so memorable. When it comes to Alpine, I think this situation is very difficult to rate properly because I think Ocon wasn't treated fairly, in my opinion, compared to Gasly. I think Gasly was getting the upgrades, getting the fresh components, and pretty much the preferential treatment throughout the last half of the season. It still was an amazing job. I think Gasly proved everyone that he's still got it. He's still the midfield god that we saw in a couple of the last couple of seasons. Like really, he was just not that uh, prominent there. I think Alpine come the end of the season, it really solidified his position as the fifth best car. Maybe at times even challenging the top four. Uh, it was a very good car that Alpine was, and Gasly managed to make the most out of it. Like, how couldn't he? He had no competition because Ocon wasn't really having the same car and same treatment as he did. It's still we still need to admire what he did, and it's still very good performance. I think Gasly had an exceptional last part of the season, but his third, for example, was dreadful. It was horrible, and this last third is amazing. So he's gonna be averaging out in my ratings, definitely. But yeah, a nine for me for Gasly. Same as Norris. Can I go higher because I don't know what they exactly did to Ocon's car because it was just so uncharacteristic to see them so far from each other after being basically neck and neck for 1.5 seasons. It just makes no sense. Yeah, I did.
Way, way so it's a difficult one to fully understand and fully decide how to rate. Because I still think he did well, right? Again, he did well, he was good. And then in the last few races, he just had the worst car on the grid. So it's like, and I mean, I genuinely think he had the worst car on the grid in the last few races.
It's possible, yeah. I'm not denying it. We'll never know. Basically,
Yeah,
it's yeah.
um, so Steven comes in, he doesn't do much better. I've been missing that. Kind of in
Happy your life elsewhere. I mean, he's going to Haas next year, and yeah, when you talked about Gasly and Ocon hopefully being together again, I mean they're gonna probably be together in a wall next season. Yeah,
it's almost this thing about the 18 when when they got those positions in podium in Brazil. Oh, it's so sweet. They were so happy
yeah.
together.
I don't think they necessarily hate each other, but they're still competitors, and they
People put it out there that
yeah
oh they were rivals as kids, so
they they really want they really want to beat each other, and did their best to basically do that. And also, I think they don't necessarily like each other, but they also don't dislike each other in my opinion. They're just people who like yeah, they're teammates, they're colleagues, but nothing much else apart from that. What crept in it was the competitiveness. I think the basically made a crack and made all those radios and so on, and basically the rifts in the team that let Ocon lead the team. Uh, well, even before the last race of the season. Ocon, very difficult to rate, but still, I'm probably gonna go for a 6 as well. It's very difficult to rate because we don't know what car has been given. That drive in Brazil probably was the best drive of the season out of any driver if we don't count Max's drive in Brazil. Honestly, imagine Max got the engine issues like in the first part of the race. Like no one will remember Max's race apart from that he made a couple of positions and then engine popped up. Like uh, everyone will remember a crazy Ocon domination in the rain in Brazil, Alpine 1-2 and so on. Like there'll be such a story for Ocon to finish off his Alpine stint with such a performance, but. Uh, yeah, unluckily for him, it was Max's day that day as well. And when Max is on his day, it's just the best of the best. And Ocon was outshined there that day, and uh, I was so sad seeing the last safety car. I think it was Ocon was maintaining the gap to Max, and then the safety car came and Max overtook him, and yeah, the rest is history. The 18-second gap or whatever. Um, okay, Ocon, good luck in Haas. Hopefully, you're gonna be much happier there. Already seem to be very happy, smiling all around, and yeah, it probably will be a better environment. Yeah, they fi- they finished the season in P7 in the constructors, just behind Alpine because Alpine had that late season resurgence with Gasly also finishing P10 drivers like Hulkenberg and Haas were were robbed of those places, but good job Alpine still. Yeah, those Ocon performances at the start of the season and that podium in Brazil helped them to get the constructors P6. So still a huge contributor. Okay, I guess you can move to Ferrari now. Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely have those two drivers. One's better than the other, but
Ooh. Wow. Higher rating than Norris and Gasly. It's interesting.
I just think
But you, yeah, you're right. Uh,
Sainz's performances when he came down super strong. He didn't have the fastest car. He output the teammate, then yet he managed to beat that teammate. He was always pretty much right behind him.
yeah, pretty much summed up. Science exceptional driver. Then on his day is better than Charles Leclerc. That's already impressive in itself. Just amazing. Last 8 races of the season. I'm not quite remembering any bad moments. Honestly, it was just sometimes was he Azerbaijan. What was it? Oh, it was the crash. But okay. If imagine there wasn't a Sergio Perez, going the straight line. Imagine that crash. Very stupid crash wouldn't happen. Science would have finished P2. So like, yeah, it's not like it was a horrible performance. It's still it would have been podium, a very good podium as well, because Charles cooked his tires and Perez was well, it, it's Perez. It was one race where he was actually decent. Ended up crashing. Yeah, Science very good, very good. I'm gonna give him about 8.5. It wasn't a 9, but that's mostly because his teammate outshined him, in my opinion. At those moments, like in Mexico, where he was just better. He was amazing in Abu Dhabi as well. Uh, it was just generally very very good. Mostly being on par with Charles, something is even better. But I still think he had some he had left something on the table. I still think there was some more to do at places. He was just not as quick as Luther, and not that I expect him to be, but I just cannot give him the same rating as Norris and Gasly, for example. I just think those two had better last 8 races.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to say again. I think the film was phenomenal. A lot of races towards the end of the season. Difficult not keeping in the 10, I'll be honest. Um,
Difficult doesn't mean impossible.
yeah, I'm not broken.
uh,
He's going to also get a 9, purely because I do think he's the middle point of the season. Um, he was better with a car that was probably slower. So, you know, I think that sort of fits in the line. But, you know, otherwise, third driver is one of the best teams in the world. Absolutely have a huge time next season. You know, maybe it's probably the best driver there's been in F1.
yeah. Uh, 9.5 for me. Uh, okay, I'm not. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not biased. I generally mean this. Charles was simply amazing in the last part of the season. Like he was there. He almost capitalized on Norris's slump in form. He almost caught up with him in the championship. Didn't quite manage to do it because Lando was just amazing in Abu Dhabi, and Leclerc had that penalty and the exit in I think Q2. Just uh, yeah, that the exit in Q2 wasn't great, but also had a penalty, so probably wasn't like trying to get a pole position. Probably knew he wasn't motivated. But also there was this thing that in the race he went from like P18 or whatever to P8 in one lap, and then just ended up on the podium. That pretty much cemented his season. I think that summed it up pretty well. He just always got to get a great performance out of his car, no matter what. And he got a couple of wins there in there too. Just amazing season and amazing last night races from Charles. Couple of minor errors or mistakes, whatever you call it, that prevented him from getting a 10, in my opinion. Like, nearly perfect is what describes his last night races. So 9.5 perfectly sums it up for me. You don't have to say much because I honestly I'm gonna probably have it one sentence. Funny. That's okay. It was funny. It was. It was funny. Just yeah. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. He fell behind both Gasly and Hulkenberg. Yes, Stroll. Oh my god. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but having Stroll in, it's having many downsides that we have talked about already. But it's also has his upside that he sometimes has such a bad performance. It's actually funny, like you said. Like, just, did he score? Where did he score points? Oh, okay, okay. That's even better. Oh, downgrading to me. We're tied. Yeah, it's not been good. He's not been good, that's for sure. But he's been even worse than the car. That's the thing. Like Alonso was still, Alonso was managing to get points positions, points performances from that car that was just going down with every upgrades in the performance relative to the field. Like every upgrade they brought to the Aston Martin car screwed up the car even more, just like last season. I don't know how they do it, but they also started the season pretty well. They were on par with Mercedes, and like, you see where Mercedes ended up. Ended up winning 3 races or 4 races even the season, right? Because they won, yeah, the 4 races. 4 races, 4 race wins for Mercedes. That feels like a lot, but also like yeah, it's that happened. Yeah, probably not a lot for a Mercedes fan that's been through Mercedes domination, but mostly considering the last the new era, the new Rex, for wins for Mercedes, it's a achievement, and yeah, I think they've done well. Sorry, back to your Alonso rating. Okay. He didn't, but it's Aston Martin. I mean, I cannot expect such a bad car to do that. Okay, but he's not gonna get a podium in the ninth best car. Like, yeah, yeah. I understand what was your thought process, but this is the thing. I think his situation is different from Albon's because not that Stroll is a proven good driver, but Alonso was up against Ocon not a while ago. Ocon is a proved driver, very quick driver. Alonso, I think, still at that level. And what's amazing that he's still as motivated as he's always. He's just always on the same level. He's just never dropping with the car, like just like Vettel did, for example, at Ferrari. Like whenever Ferrari fell in performance, Vettel or okay, Vettel is probably how you should spell it, but Vettel is the most commentators is what most commentators use. So uh, anyway, Seb, I guess I'm gonna call it that. He was the driver that thrived in a good car where everything worked, but Alonso is that driver who just puts in performances no matter the car, no matter the situation. He's always there. And he was there this last 8 races. Brazil wasn't great. He crashed, but I mean, other seven drivers crashed in the qualifying. But uh, yeah, I'm giving him an 8. Genuinely think he was better than the entire midfield. Like he was the best midfield driver, apart from Gasly, obviously. But after Gasly, I think he was the second best one, even better than Hulkenberg. As I gave Hulkenberg the same as Magnussen. Yeah, Alonso very good. End of the season, he was in the points pretty occasionally, uh, which is very good for the car. I think Stroll also was bad, but Stroll's always bad. He's just, Alonso, I think, extracted the performance out of the car better than he did in the second third of the season. Because also the first third was pretty good, where he was getting like P1st in qualifying in China, for example, and so yeah, I think decent. Yep, 8. It was, yeah. He got a podium, but also his teammate got a win from pole position. Yep. I understand it because no, hear me out. I think it could be a similar situation to Ocon in Alpine, but also we don't have any actual like proof that it would be the case. Uh, Ocon was constantly mentioning how is the gap so big, how like what is with the car? The car is shit and gasoline in P5 or whatever. Just he didn't understand what was going on, and he was like telling the team like this is not normal. Lewis was straight out in front of media saying, hey, I'm slow. I just don't have it in me anymore. That's the difference in me that I would be more lent. I mean, more on the side of the same situation as Ocon's happened to him, but him being open to being not as good as he has been in the front of his career, probably. I think he's being honest. Honestly, I just don't think Lewis would lie in front of the media for no reason. I think he's just lost motivation. He didn't have a good car come to the end of the season. It was occasionally good, but it wasn't like competing with the top three. Um, I think he's very excited for the Ferrari seat. He had to have that in mind ever since the first race. Basically, Ferrari was the second quickest car throughout most of the season. Averaged out to be the third, maybe. Actually, no. It's difficult to say. Probably third best car, but almost got the constructors. Looking very good for next year. Probably very excited for that, and probably didn't quite try as much. Maybe wasn't as motivated in his subconscious mind, but I don't think this is what Lewis normally does. I think he's still capable of much more, as he showed. He showed in that season. Like he had some amazing performances, like Spa, Silverstone, even the Vegas race. Like he still has the pace, but just he just doesn't have that. I don't know. Yeah, when it mattered, when it mattered, and when the win was on in the cars, he pushed to the limit, and he was the old Lewis that we knew and love. I think Lewis still has it in him, and hopefully Ferrari can unlock that Lewis Hamilton that has won, should have won 8 world championships. Unfortunately, only won 7, but yeah, that's for the history books, I guess. We can have our own opinions about certain things. Yeah, Lewis very disappointing, but also a different situation to rate. I they were very similar with Piastri for this one, but I've actually given it above Piastri. But since Piastri went up because of Baku race, I cannot give Lewis the same treatment because I actually remembered his last 8 races. I was watching the gap between him and George, and it was concerning, especially in qualifying. Um, yeah, 4.5 for Lewis. It's a very very bad rating. Uh, I'm just sad to see Lewis this. I don't know what's saying in English exactly, but just doesn't feel motivated at all. Like from come the end of the season, yeah, the last race he overtook George for a P4, but that was like the last thing that he could have done in a Mercedes. It's it's been such a sad to see him exit the team, and he's won so much, so many records broken, and he's leaving at this a 4.5 rating. But yeah, there's so much celebration that they spent together. I just it's sad. I've already spoken about it in the previous videos, but just not quite what I wanted to see. Now that I think about it, Piastri probably should be dropped to 0.5. I cannot give him that much higher than Lewis. Piastri was simply nowhere, as was Lewis. Lewis had the fakest race, but uh, still, like, yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah. Uh, imagine Lewis wouldn't screw up the qualifying, would have qualified like maybe in a pole position, probably P2. Would have battled with George for the race win. Based on the race pace, based on race pace, I don't want to say that it would be straightforward, but I think he had the edge over George in race pace. Not by much. I think George, whenever he was told to keep up the pace, he actually exited the gap. But over the entire race distance. Like they finished 7.5 seconds or whatever away from each other. If Lewis would have started P2, at least P2, that it would have been a different story. I think if Lewis would have won Las Vegas, he would have gotten at least a six, but he just didn't. He screwed up qualifying again. Came through the field, but no, never mind. Yeah, just wanted to get my thoughts out of my head. Okay, you can go for George, I guess.
Not just because, I like him, also because, that allowed him that every all the drivers that won the season won six.
Yeah, at least two.
Really, really pleased for him. Um, he's a phenomenal driver. He never goes on to leave, which is scary. He's such a young teammate as well.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, since 2019, it's the sixth season if I'm counting right. No, it's seventh actually. Is it? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Seventh season in Formula One. that's, that's a number, yeah.
I think I forgive him. I can't give him that, right? Because I don't think it's phenomenal. He's been very good. But again, whilst in Hamilton, so for ahead of him. But I think he deserves probably a
I think I've lost you. Oh, okay, you're back. It was like a stab. It just it was a silence after that. I was like, yeah, okay. Seven, seven. Interesting. Interesting. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm giving very George a very high number. In my opinion, extremely good last part of the season. Couple of mistakes here and there, like a crash in Mexico, crash in the U.S. Grand Prix, but those were the weekends where not much mattered at that point as well. Like Mercedes was dreadful in the U.S. For example, Mexico wasn't much better. Um, they finished close to each other in Mexico. In the U.S. Grand Prix, I mean, he still managed to get good points from the car while Lewis was in the gravel. Um, Most of the time, George was the better driver. In qualifying, it was very prominent. In the races, Lewis still has an amazing race pace, but I don't think George is that far off. I think George has improved this season, and if, to the next season, I think he can lead that team just like Charles did after Seb left that team. Um, a very similar situation, except that Seb just completely fumbled like the 2020 season where Charles got a couple of podiums and Seb was just nowhere. Uh, yeah, Russell. Yeah, again, same thing as Gasly. I cannot give him another nine because I'm not entirely sure that if Mercedes was 100% giving them fair treatment, because logically it would make no sense for them to not prioritize George when it comes to the car and setups or whatever. They needed to boost George's confidence for next season because he's gonna be their lead driver. Unless they expect Antonelli to be like whatever Max or new Hamilton or whatever. Just those drivers come once in a decade basically, and I think Antonelli is a bit rushed. Like I'm gonna have my thoughts after his debut, obviously, but um, I still don't. I'm not entirely convinced by putting Antonelli in Mercedes is a good idea. I think he should have been put in a Williams instead, and probably should have brought in Sainz to the Mercedes seat, or maybe even uh, what I wanted to say. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, there was this one driver that Bottas. Yeah, that was Bottas was the other one. Yeah, very good in qualifying, very good in races as well. Um, yeah, just great end of the season for George. Hopefully, he can build on this and become a very good driver in 2025 season. Where we don't know how Mercedes is gonna turn out. Like maybe they will actually like sort out their setup issues and be competitive throughout the entire season. Like if that's the case, uh, maybe George can even fight for a title. Like it can happen. I'm not ruling anything out. Mercedes still is a championship winning team. They're still having the mentality. I think they still can produce a very good car and can operate at a very high level. They're still in them. They won 8 constructor championships in a row. It doesn't happen to everyone. Um, yeah, okay. I guess you can move to to another fun driver that's on our list. Uh, did I stop your breath? Sorry, I was still there. Uh, okay, sorry. I almost thought that your mic is off again. Okay. Oh yeah, I see the one. Okay, I see it. Just uh, actually, I'm gonna put in a 0.5 just to not have a zero. Because zero would be Mazepin spinning every race, and we almost did that. He wasn't far off from being absolutely Mazepin level, but he wasn't Mazepin level. Always, he was sometimes getting points. Sometimes in Baku, he was decent, but then crashed. But solely on the Baku performance, probably zero. Deserves a 0.5 at least.
Crashed himself into the gravel, and you said, "Yeah, that's all that happened." So, and that's all I need to say.
Yeah, that sums up it. We we had no expectations like in the last half of the season. We pretty much expected him to be out in Q1 every single race, and getting Q3 was an achievement for him. That's that's saying for a Red Bull driver actually. Like uh, dis- disappointing is a pretty weak word for it, I would say. Just
I'll be fair. They are the team I and that's pretty much all my life. Or at least all my life. But
yeah.
that's a big one on me.
Our second one. Or all right. I don't think you've given anyone a zero yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if you give it to Perez because I honestly thought about it 0.5. Yeah, it was pretty much solely based on Baku that he gained that. So. Okay. A 10th place being an achievement. That's crazy for a Red Bull driver. Like, yeah, all Lawson needs to do is like finish in the top 8 every single race, and it's gonna be already an improvement. Uh, yeah, they were. Yeah, yeah. Okay. We're gonna give the world champion his rating. Was Italy in this span of races? I think Italy was the race number 16. So it's this is probably yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean it was the most competitive season since 2012. Yeah. Okay. 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 I'm gonna try to explain my thought process in the last 2 minutes. It was pretty much the same thing as with Piastri. I completely forgot about Baku because I had a straight up 10, like the easiest 10 in my life, but then I remembered Baku when he was actually outperformed by Sergio Perez and already merits him a drop by like 5 points in the rating, like being beat like Perez. Oh, come on. Anyways, yeah, Max, exceptional end of the season, came through everything to win his fourth title. Uh, Probably his second most impressive title. Like I still rate his 2021 title above this one because it was down to the last race, last lap to be fair, and it was his first title fight as well. We can compare this to Norris's, for example. Like Norris had his first title fight, and didn't do as well as Max did in his. Yeah, 9.5 for Max is still sorry, where did I put it? Sorry, 9.5 for Max is still I think fitting. Despite the backup performance, I think is even the Brazil performance on its own is probably giving him a 9 at least. If he wouldn't have all those amazing races around it, he won Qatar. He got so many podiums. he was back. He was back competing in the last 8 races of the season. Um, and yeah, apart from that Baku performance, I don't know what that was. Like, yeah, probably even the best drivers probably have an off day once in a while. Not sure what happened. Like, it was such a weird thing to see Max being nowhere, Perez being there fighting for wins. Like, it looked like an F1 game scenario or whatever. Just didn't seem realistic, but it happened. It ruined his 10 because otherwise it would be the easiest 10, as I said. Like, and that.
See, I wouldn't personally get in the pen, but I feel like I was very harsh
Okay,
on everyone. For me, Baku and yeah, even overseas, pushing cars for ages. Things like Canada, where he obviously isn't I think probably one of the worst
I well, it wasn't bad from Max. If you meant that.
No, no, but I think fans are wrong by this.
Yeah, but McLaren wasn't quite in the league as Red Bull. Like that wasn't the same league. That was the I think the biggest win margin in the entire season, and Lando overtook Max on like lap 17. That's speaking volumes, I think. Uh, okay. Anyways, back to this rating. I want to like quickly make a little change at the end. Probably wanted to give Science a 9, but also wanted to give Leclerc a 10. But then like those two drivers are so good. But also, it's very difficult to rate it at that point because for Leclerc to get a 10, he would need to beat Sainz in Mexico, for example. Like it's 10 is a perfect score. You don't give it to everyone every time. It just needs to be merited. And at the same time, if I'm not gonna give it a Leclerc a 10, I cannot bump up Sainz because he wasn't at the level of George Gasly and Lando. Just it's a very difficult scenario because I thought I would give driver a 10 this time, but I ended up not doing it because of Max's Baku. I completely forgot for some reason, as well as Piastri's. Yeah, just okay. I think these are my final ratings. Do you want to change anything on yours?
Yeah.
All right, let's move down to the right. Um, okay. And yours as well. We're gonna see the total ratings from the entire season. Uh, First off, yours. And I'm quickly gonna give the mine next to them as well. So I can delete this below it, and we can look at it. Is the OBS fine? Okay, it's fine. All right. Wow. Wow. Okay. Quickly, one thing that caught my eye was the drop in Sunoda's rating from a 9 to 4 for you. Like, I don't think he was that bad in the last part of the season, honestly. Like compared to 9, like okay. Leclerc in your ratings 999. It's also incredible. 9.5 for me as well in the entire
Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I think so. For me, looking at these, obviously the big one for me is the Pinto coming over. Um, I did put a zero, so retroactively I can now put a zero for Paris. No argument. Um, but looking at like yeah, Pinto taking over, very funny. Compared to Lawson taking over, where we thought that Ricardo, we both thought Ricardo had a better middle period than Lawson had an end to the season. That's interesting. Um, did you have something to say?
No, no, no. That was me.
Uh,
Doing things. Uh,
then, yeah, that's interesting to see Lawson not do as good as we put Ricardo doing in that mid season. As I said, there was a drop off for Sonoda for me. feel that's about right. If you perfectly and I don't think he did this end of the season that he did in the mid-season. So I feel like he's got one there. Ross had some pretty solid throughout.
Yeah.
Show sudden shot up.
0 to 4. It's quite a jump. Yeah. Oh my God, he went from a 3 to 7.5 in my ratings. It's impressive.
We're both pretty solid on our Norris picks there.
Yeah, very close to each other.
For some reason, I thought we had a really good season. Probably because we didn't realise how bad they were screwing them over. Sometimes it was going to be high.
Yeah. And actually interesting to think that Science had such a good start of the season. Like he was like on par with Leclerc with the victory in Australia and so on. Giving such a low rating, I think something must have happened like in the like last part of the first 8 races that screwed his rating. Because I don't remember exactly what it was because such a gap, like 2 points, sorry, 2 ratings between Leclerc and Science for both of us. I don't quite remember them being so far from each other. Yeah, yeah, he was. But to be fair, he was decent. Like he was getting points. He was up there with Alonso. We didn't know what was going on if it was Alonso being bad or Stroll being good, so we went up with the second option, and yeah, that's kind of shows us the entire season. Helps Alonso's rating because we didn't screw up him because of Stroll being good. Ocon is an interesting story compared to Gasly because Ocon started really well. He was beating Gasly convincingly, but then it turned around in the middle of the season after his announcement, and Gasly was just very good, and then just even better up to the end of the season, like 4 to 8 for your ratings, 5 to 9 in mine. Uh, shows the bigger the gap. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did not. Oh, I I think he deserves it honestly. Like he was one of the best qualifiers in the season. He outscored Lewis Hamilton, which is like not the thing that many drivers in the history of Formula One can say. Uh, he actually beat him in 2 seasons out of 3, although the in the points Lewis overall managed to beat him in the final race by a tiny bit. But it was the closest driver pairing in the like we've seen in a while, like even closer than the Ferrari pairing or the Alpine pairing. Those two Mercedes drivers are very close to each other. Um, yeah, the ratings interesting. I'll actually sort it up so you can see the. Um, Sorry, I'll put it probably like there. Yeah, not what I went to. Second. Okay, this is the one. This is the ratings. Um, yeah, we were. Yeah, 9.33 for both of us. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna sort this out. Um, by the best to worst. So we can see the worst driver of 2024, Sergio Perez. No, no surprise there. Yeah. Okay, let's see its rating. It's like 2.510. So that's 4.5 divided by 4. That's not a lot of points. No, that would be lower than Perez, to be fair. So yeah, Sargent would be below him, but he's being carried by Colapinto's score, especially the high rating you gave him. Uh, True, right? And Joe came in clutch and beat Perez to that P19. Yeah. Okay, Sargent with Colapinto together got a P18, 2.83. Mostly dragged down by Sargent, but Colapinto with his. It's a small sample size for. It's not a full sample size for both of them, so we can't really compare it to other drivers. Maybe we could do that for Sargent or Ricardo, but I don't think that would be fair because they didn't do the last third of the season. So I'm gonna stick with being together. Stroll 3.0. uh, Stroll, being Stroll. Yeah, you didn't. Neither did I. Actually, your rating for Stroll is higher than mine for the entire season. Actually, you carried Stroll's rating. uh, yeah, crazy the thing. Okay, Ricardo Lawson. Another interesting rating. 4.33. It's okay. You averaged the 4. I averaged the 5, if I'm counting correctly. So it's yeah, 8 divided by 3. Oh no, sorry. What did I? 15 divided by 3. So it's 5. Yeah, 5, and you're gonna 3, 4, 3, 8, and 11 dies. Yeah, that's. Sorry, my math skills are not quite clicking right now. Yeah, it makes sense. 4.33. Um, Mainly carried by my rating, middle season rating to Ricardo that I thought it was actually pretty good. Later after that rating, he got dropped, so wasn't the best thing ever. But I mean, Ricardo was supposed to be a Red Bull in the last half of the season, but well, Perez money kicked in. He was there to the end of the season mainly because of Mexican Grand Prix, and then he was let off as we all expected him to go. Well, okay, Magnussen 4.5. Underwhelming season, below average as we see there, um, carried by his late season performances. Um, Ocon, it seems pretty harsh for Ocon to be in a 5.83, but uh, when you look at the drivers ahead of him, it probably makes sense, right? I mean, 5.83 is also almost a 6. That's above average, so um, all right season for Ocon. Alonso, 6.17. Yeah, it wasn't great for Alonso. I mean, yeah, you didn't like Alonso too much, did you? uh, I mean, yeah, based on last season, you would probably expect Alonso to be there, but the car wasn't there. And I, when you look at the top seven, like the top six, sorry, the 6 out of the 7 drivers in the top seven have a very good car, and have had a very good car this season. So that's it has also, but Perez is the outlier. A Red Bull sandwich. Everyone's in the Red Bull sandwich. Uh, okay, Hamilton 6.42. Actually, put the numbers there as well. I forgot. Uh, okay, it's P12 for Hamilton, 6.42. It's still the above average season, but not quite the Lewis Hamilton season you would expect. Uh, I think he'll bounce back in Ferrari. Not sure to what extent. I think Charles will beat him, but we'll see. Obviously, it's a new season, new challenge, and maybe we can expect Hamilton to be very good again. Tsunoda, P11 from Yuki. Feels slow as like Yeah, he was amazing at the start of the season. He had a 9 from both of us. I dropped quite a bit, and you dropped massively to 5 and 4. I don't think he dropped that much, but the ratings say otherwise. I'm not sure what we were thinking. I get this mid-season slump. Ricardo was on par with him, but late season, yeah, I think we should have given the Toro Rosso drivers a bit higher rating for both of them in the last third. They both of them got a very good performance in Brazil, for example, as well. It feels wrong for Yuki to not be in the top 10 after a season he's had. Uh, yeah, Bottas, Albon. I could see him being just behind Gasly, maybe even ahead of him, if I would have to rate them without these ratings. Bottas P10 though, probably carried by me, but he also gave him pretty good ratings. Bottas, yeah, no points. P like 23 in the end. Had a sorry, was it P 23? Yeah, I think he jumped Sargent in the end. So not sure either. So I'm not gonna fact check it. Fact check it really. P10. I think this makes me happy because not many people would say Bottas had a good season, but I think he had a pretty good season. It just wasn't shown because his car was atrociously bad. Uh, so this is a pretty decent farewell from us to Bottas to give him a top 10 spot in our driver ratings over the entire season, which was split into the three thirds for value accuracy. And I think I think Bottas definitely deserves a shout for his season and shout for his entire career. To be fair, he was a very good driver, just not quite championship caliber driver. Uh, yeah, he was from that group of Hulkenberg and Sainz. They are just below the championship caliber drivers, but they're exceptionally good. They can win races and beat their teammates on their day. They world championship teammates that we saw with Sainz and Bottas. Unfortunately, Hulkenberg never got a shot in the championship winning car. But Hulkenberg, to be fair, beat Sainz when they were teammates. I guess that's that. Um, yeah, we can move to Gasly, P9, 6.75. Gasly, I think the chat bubbles are blocking the ratings a bit. I'm actually gonna move them. I actually only blocked like Max and Charles. It's fine. All right. Back to the spreadsheet. Yeah. Gasly down at the start of the season, but his late and season form made up for it. I mean, he got the top 9 spot. He got the top 10 spot in the World Drivers' Championship as well. Uh, Stole it from Hulkenberg in the last race. I'm quite happy about it, but what can I do? Yeah. Well, us Hulkenberg fans can never be fully satisfied. Albon, P8. I think this is the most surprising about all of it. Like, I wouldn't say Alex had such a good season. Wasn't bad by no means, but I don't think he was that exceptional. He also had made so many mistakes and was matched by Colapinto at times. It just didn't feel like Alex was as good as last season. It's just, yeah, probably averaged out, and maybe we can actually see, like, based on our ratings, that he actually didn't have a bad season. It's just that, yeah, a lot of drivers had worse periods of seasons, basically. Interesting. P8 for Albon, I definitely didn't expect coming to this video. Piastri P7. I think this is deserved a top 7 spot. He had some great performance in the middle of the season. He was exceptionally good. He won 2 races there. Sorry, was it 2? Yeah, it was Baku. Baku was in the third part, as you reminded me. But yeah, the middle of the part of the season, he was basically like scoring the most points out of any driver in the championship. There was a statistic somewhere in around Spa or Italy, like it was like yeah, Piastri has scored the most points out of any driver in the last some many couple of races. Yeah, it was just basically Piastri mid season that carried him. At least in my ratings. Yours first part of the season was also pretty decent for Piastri. But yeah, the last third wasn't good. He needs. Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. It was so late. Actually, already. Oh crap. Okay. Let's speed this up. Uh, yeah. I hope you don't mind too much. We started recording like 2 hours ago. I didn't expect this to be so long. Science P6 8.00, so a perfect 8. Both averaged the like it was actually like pretty close to each other. 7.58 and point 0.5, a gradual improvement of 0.5, 7, 8, 9 for you. So pretty much the same thing, but without the decimals. Um, yeah, just a very good season for Science. He won 2 races, was very good, and it's a shame he's going to Williams because he deserves a good seat on the grid. He's proven that. Russell B5, definitely a worthy spot for George. I think 8.85 should be maybe a little bit higher, but that's maybe only my rating. I just feel like George had a very good season. He convincingly beat Lewis over the season, so that's that. Like he beat one of the greatest of all time, like, statistically the greatest of all time as well. Uh, Very good season from George. Hopefully, he can build on it and become the next well, Mercedes British star, whatever you want to call it. All right, Norris P4 8.17. Lando, through a championship, but overall, I think a pretty good season, right? Like it wasn't bad at all. It was very impressive. He won 4 races. He's got like 8 or 9 pole positions. Had a very good car, but also was convincingly better than his teammate over the entire season, especially in qualifying. Like it was like 19-4 or some ridiculous head to head. Yeah, same as Russell. Good season. Hopefully, he can build on it and improve for the next one. Hulkenberg P3 8.25. Honestly, I didn't expect him to be this high up, but I guess that's mostly due to the first season. The season started, he just was scoring points left and right after the Hasport upgrades. It was very good. Made almost no mistakes at the start of the season. Then the final third of the season wasn't great. Behrman came in and beat Hulkenberg into 2 outages that he had. Um, yeah, just good season, very good season in fact, but just not the elite level of those above the rating of 9. If I would have to re-rate the drivers, probably would have ended up with Hulkenberg in P6. I think Norris, Russell, and Sainz probably should be ahead of him. Uh, yeah, he was, but also mm, I mean, they're separated by 0.008, so I guess they're very good. They're on the closest drivers here. I think Russell was better than Sainz, honestly. I wouldn't switch them around. I would switch. I would switch probably. Ah, difficult. I think Norris definitely stays in the top 4. Hulkenberg maybe could drop down a little bit. Albon would probably drop in my overall ratings. Gasly would stay the same probably. Tsunoda would jump to P8. I think it was meant to be there. Alonso would probably should be higher as well. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the top two. The two elite drivers with a 9 plus rating from this season. Starting with Charles Leclerc, 9.25. Mostly carried by 9.5 throughout the entire season. A little bit biased, but hopefully I give some good. I backed my ratings hopefully with some good opinions and good facts. I think Charles had an exceptional season. Uh, he I was one of the most top scorers in the last half of the season. Very unfortunate with the Ferrari upgrades in Canada onwards. The Ferrari couldn't quite manage to have a good car, but without that, he was exceptional. Like always in the top four. He had the most top fours out of any driver this season. A lot of podiums, three victories, some I think two pole positions or maybe just one. Yeah, I think it was only was one, right? Maybe wrong. Anyways, yeah, I had a pole position in Baku. That was the one he lost actually. uh, went to pole to win ratio crumbling a little bit. Anyways, Max Verstappen, the champion of the season with the highest rating of 9.33. He's the champion. Sorry, yeah, is the champion of both the ratings and the season. Very, very good Max. Just missing out on the 10 from me throughout the entire season. If I would have given it, if it wasn't for Baku, if like Baku would have been in the first, the second eight, he would have gotten 10 from me. He got at least he got it from you. So that made him get a rating above Charles. Because I think if he would have remained with 9, I think they would be the same, right? No, actually, Charles would be ahead by a little bit. I think Max deserves it to be the first. So you did a good job there with the uh, uh, yeah, Max exceptional championship, just monumentally good. It's scary to think that we unless he gets a like a mid car, he just will always be there fighting for podiums at least. Like just even this season, like when he didn't have the car, he was like a second, third, fourth best car at times. He was always there, always performing. There was this one race where he wasn't Max Verstappen, the Baku race. I don't understand what happened. How was he slower than Perez? But I guess there's just one outlier that shouldn't describe a season. Max had an exceptional season and was the best driver this year. The ratings prove that, and we'll see next season if the Red Bull can compete with the other cars. Not quite sure about Lawson next to him. I think Lawson will face the same fate as Gasly and Albon and eventually Perez. Uh, but yeah, I'm having no expectations of Lawson, and if he performs just above average, then which we should expect probably will be good. Anyways, already stole like more than 2 hours of your time today. Uh, it's one of our longest videos, if not the longest, honestly. Yeah, over 2 hours. Like it's quite a lot. We've definitely recorded for more throughout the day. Yeah, those few subscribers I still have left, hopefully watches and like this video. Thank you, everyone who's been watching us. It's a lot of fun to do, and we're heading for 2025. I'm very excited, and yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this podcast we have because it's the one thing that I had look forward to throughout my bad day at work. All the work at least. That's for a bit. Anyways, thanks everyone again. It'd been wonderful. HX have been wonderful as well. And thank you. We're in for 2025. Lots of content coming, and yeah, keep up with us because we're gonna pump out a lot of content soon, hopefully, if we're not busy. Anyways, thanks again, and see ya.